Hey everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, it's March Madness. The Tar Heels are still playing, so of course it's Carolina basketball. Specifically, it's time to give Hubert Davis his due. That's the topic of this daily drop. Before I dive into that, quick reminder, you can be a Tar Heel insider too for just $8.33 a month. You can be a member of our site at TarHeelIllustrated.com. We have a very large, growing premium membership community. It's a wonderful community with a lot of smart people who know their stuff, football, basketball, recruiting for both sports. Carolina just got a commitment in football a few days ago while I'm sitting there getting ready for the game. I got to get that commitment stuff rolling out there to everybody. A pretty good class is being built for the class of 25 in football right now. You can get all that information on our boards. David Sisk, all of his stuff is premium, except when he does a podcast with me. You got to be a member, a subscriber to access that stuff. And the reality is, guys, two things. Number one, so much of what we do, so much of what we report, so much of the inside stuff that we bring you, because you see, we're there on site. We go everywhere the football and basketball Tar Heels go. We're always there. So a lot of the stuff that we provide is only on the boards, the premium boards. You cannot access it unless you are a premium subscriber. We don't put a lot of that stuff here on these videos. The other thing is, if you love what we do, instead of sending money, and we don't ask for money here on these videos, just go subscribe. It's only $8.33 a month for a one-year subscription. That keeps us in business. That keeps us flowing. I can pay Jacob more. I can give Bryant Balcom the money that he deserves. Hell, I might even throw Kevin Roy a couple of dollars. Who knows? If he's not getting on my nerves, of course. Joke aside, Kevin knows it's all love. And by the way, his photography work has been outstanding and gets better. You should check out his galleries. If you're someone who likes to look at still photos and just sort of think about them, check out Kevin's work. He does a phenomenal job. All right. The topic here is give Hubert Davis his due. It's about time. I know that some people have at times this year, and there's some people that keep waiting for him to do something that confirms their mind that they made up a year ago that he sucks and he can't coach, which is all garbage. If you go back a year ago, when Jacob and I were doing pods, what did we say? Got to give him third year. For anybody, it takes a third year. We'll know a lot more about him as a coach after year 3. Not year 1, when things were wobbly and then all of a sudden, boom, they took off and everybody said, boy, that Hubert Davis sure can't coach. 6 weeks after they said, man, I'm not sure this is going to work. Then last year, they had a lot of problems. It was a poorly constructed roster. Hubert did overcoach some, running too many set plays, and he tried to squeeze a 5-man into a 4, and he couldn't do it with Pete Nance, and it just didn't work. And there were some other factors at play as well. This year, it's a very well-constructed roster, as we've seen. But I like some of the tweaks that Hubert has made, or to take his words, the tweaks, the pivots, and the alters that he's made with this team. And I do like it, not just before the season started, but what he's continued to do during the course of the season. I'm going to throw a couple of examples everybody's way. First of all, substitutions. There are times he doesn't play the bench enough. There's no doubt about it. I think he went through a period like that at the end of February during February times into March. They had a 10-game win streak. Then they lost a couple times. And again, third year, still learning. I think he kind of tightened up a little bit too soon. But the bench wasn't producing a whole lot during that time. Of late, the Tar Heels are getting something from somebody every game. And often each of those guys makes an impact when they get on the floor, including Paxson Wojcik on Saturday. And to Hubert's credit, it wasn't a minute 35 stint on the floor for Paxson. He played well. He went to the bench during a timeout, came back out on the floor, and that said something to me. I'm sitting there courtside when I saw Paxson walk out. I took a little note. I said, okay, Hubert's trusting him. Hubert's going to allow him to give whatever he can. This is probably Paxton's only stint in the game. So squeeze that lemon, see how much juice you can get from it. And he did. And it was after that phenomenal play when he kicked it out on the break to RJ in the corner for a 3 occurred. Jalen Withers, he stuck with Jalen hard Thursday against Wagner. Jalen gave him a lot of life in that game when it was needed. He ends up going 16-10. How about Seth Trimble? The thing I really like that Hubert's been doing lately is the recognition that sometimes Elliott's not playing that well. Or sometimes, like the other day, everybody fixated on Elliott missing shots. Elliott Cadeau, that is, missing shots. But the other part of his game, the rest of his game was really good. But sometimes that stuff can weigh on a young kid. So Hubert has been really good lately at handling Elliott when he gives him lengthy stretches on the bench. And he goes with Seth. You're giving up something offensively. I think the flow. I think their ability to run freelance is a lot easier when Elliott's on the floor. You got to go more sets and more actions when Seth is on the floor on offense. But defensively, man, you can roll it out there and let Seth go crazy. How he defended Tyson Walker in a stretch in the second half, a pivotal stretch, was amazing. He was face guarding him 35, 40 feet from the basket and staying right on him. How about the block shots? One of them was help side defense. Hubert has really gained a tremendous amount of comfort and feel for when he goes extended minutes with Seth and when he doesn't. And that's really, really good coaching. Even Jalen Washington, for Hubert to communicate with him in a way that every time Jalen gets on the floor, he produces something. He's a high volume stat guy for the number of minutes that he plays. Hubert deserves the credit for these things. Another thing, and this surprised me because I was very critical toward the end of the regular season that when Carolina would have leads inside of 5 minutes and sometimes 7 minutes, Hubert would start to pull things back. And I've never been a fan of that. I'm a believer that if you can score, score, because scoring shortens the game. If you score, if you choose to give up a shot that you should probably hit, and you keep the ball in play, and you continue to work clock on offense, you're just using up some seconds. But if you score when that opportunity's there, the other team has to take the ball of the net. They have to inbound it with the clock running. They have to get it up the court, do whatever they're going to do to get shots up and make a shot. And then you have to get the ball, get cross midcourt, get back into whatever offensive setup you'd be in, and you're right back where you started. Except the difference is you have the same margin. The difference is 25, 30, 35 seconds have gone off the clock. And with only a 30-second shot clock, I think you got to score. If you're going back 45 seconds like they had back in the 90s, maybe you give up a shot because you can maybe get that shot again. But 30 seconds, it's so quick. I don't think so, because what happens sometimes is teams, and the Tar Heels have done this, end up taking really bad forced shots. So all you did was burn some time, but you didn't extend the margin at all. And that widens the game. Scoring shortens the game because their team has to make it up. And by the time they do, a lot more time has gone off the clock. So I was a little surprised, and some of us were wondering on press row how he was going to handle that with Michigan State on Saturday. And he let him go. He let him play. He let him score, and they put the Spartans away. They put them away just like they put teams away during that 10-game win streak when he wasn't pulling back. So again, here's a coach who I think self-corrects during the year. Well, he's done it a lot this year. Sometimes he goes back to the switching. You notice they didn't switch a ton the other day, especially during some of those good stretches. I like that. He's not so rigid that he refuses to adjust. And that's a very, very good sign moving forward. The other thing I really liked is how the team adjusted to Wagner's zone. I said the other night after the game, I thought Wagner going to his zone was really, really good for Carolina. They hadn't seen it in a while, and they hadn't had a great deal of success. So it forced the Tar Heels to adjust and overcome. and then move forward playing well. And they did. So many of RJ's points came against that zone, which is why I thought a 17-point second half, even in a blowout, was a good thing for the Heels. Because when you get in the tournament, it's about accumulating. It's about advancing past various styles and showing you can play in all these different environments, if you will. It's like a football team that can run and throw in the mud, and you can run and throw when it's 100 degrees out. You can do all those things. You're able to be successful. The elements, the circumstances won't get you. The Tar Heels have proven that. So the adjustment to their zone, very, very good coaching, especially when he took Elliott out. And I'm not saying Elliott wasn't playing well, but he took Elliott out, and he went back to having a big in the middle of the offense against the zone. And he was rotating with Withers and Baycott, and they were often rotating in the same possession. It was really good stuff. And by the way, they played really well and both posted huge numbers. I think they combined for 41 points in the game. Another thing was about Michigan State's intensity the other day. I thought Carolina was ready to play. I thought they had really good intensity, really good energy, and all that kind of stuff. But they played a team that was up here with all that stuff, maybe higher than anybody they played this year. You kind of knew or had to figure that a Tom Izzo team was going to come at them. And my belief is that Michigan State recognized that the only way they could beat North Carolina was to come out and just fire a bunch of blows to the head and see what they can come up with. And they did, and they knocked the Heels to the canvas up. The Heels got up and then outscored Michigan State by 29 points in a span of like 23 or 24 minutes. Very impressive. And it's impressive because the coach was able to elevate their intensity. It didn't happen just because Jalen Washington hit a jump shot. It didn't happen just because a couple plays went their way. Next thing you know, they got energy. Hubert, without cussing, without belittling, doing things in a Hubert way, was able to lift them. That's what coaches do. He lifted them to meet the intensity and the physicality of Michigan State, and the Tar Heels took off, and they won the game. There are other things I could cite. It wouldn't then be a daily drop. It would then be a long show about Hubert Davis. One thing is absolute, guys. He has proven that he can self-correct. He has proven that he can adapt. He has proven that he can learn. And he has learned. He's a much better coach this year than he was last year. Last year was an opportunity for him to learn a ton and then have some conversations. Had some conversations. And now I don't think that's an issue. Shouldn't be anyway. If it becomes an issue later in this tournament, we'll talk about it and say it is. But right now, I think Carolina fans should be really confident in this team, in the bench, in each of the starters, in the overall collective disposition, and also in their head coach and his assistants, because the assistants talk to the kids a lot more than they used to. Brad Frederick is talking to Hubert all the time. He's done a really good job with this club. The work that Sean's done with these guys and how Sean will talk to a player when they come to the bench, especially if they're struggling. And they got a good thing going. And the success or failure of all organizations begin at the top. And North Carolina, as a 1 seed, 29-7, headed to the Sweet 16 to take on Alabama. The success of this team begins at the top. And it's about time Carolina fans, especially the ones who have not warmed up to Hubert Davis yet, it's about time you give him his due. Because even if they lose Thursday night, this has been a great season. And it's been 2 out of 3 in which he's done something magical in March, or at least enough in March. I wouldn't call it magical yet, but it was magical 2 years ago. It's on that track right now. They are 1 win away from their first 30-win season since 2017, the last time they won the national championship. Give Hubert his due. He deserves it. It's justified, and it's time. If you agree with that and you want to give Hubert his due, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you get updates every time we upload, which is a ton. And we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff from LA. And if the Tar Heels end up advancing to the Final Four in Phoenix, that notification bell is going to go off a crap load when I am out in Phoenix, I can guarantee you. And also make sure you tell all of your Carolina Tar Heel friends, let them know we're here. Not enough people know about us yet. Let them know we are here. Have them come subscribe. Have them go over to our site, $8.33 a month for a 1-year subscription. And voila, you have the entire Carolina universe at your fingertips. I'm AJ, and I'll see you next time.